So before I showed up to Ranger School, man, there were a couple of Navy SEALs got sent there for punishment reasons, and a couple of them quit. You know, like not because it was too hard, I imagine, probably because, you know, fuck you, I'm not gonna be here for punishment. I'm not gonna get my ass kicked again. I went through Navy SEAL training, so it just came with the attitude of being there. So a couple of them said, I'm out. So that gave some of the SEALs a bad reputation at Ranger School, and then I show up and I'm like, yeah, I want to be here. And they thought I was just another guy that got in trouble, not knowing that I begged to come here and I begged to get beat on for 69 days and starve and lose 56 pounds like I lost. So it's like day 3, and they have, you know, an Army guy. We're all stripped to rank. I'm just David, you know, I'm just Goggins, and whoever, it's just your name. I mean, you could be a fucking major, you could be a general, and you're just Thomas. That's all the fuck you are, man. They don't care. So I'm hiding out, but I got my little Navy name tag on, so they can tell I'm a Navy guy. My little Navy hat, you know, so they know I'm a Navy guy. I stand out, and once again, there's not many black guys in Ranger School. So I'm in the back hiding out, and they tell the guy, hey, come up here. You're the first sergeant, and the first sergeant used to know the Ranger Creed. So the guy goes up there and he goes, he fucks it up. And they go, hey, they look right at me. I know for a fact, seeing them back there, whatever they call me, doesn't know this shit. I was like, motherfucker, I've been studying this Ranger Creed for a year. This is what I'm saying in my head. I get up there, man, recognize not volunteer as a Ranger. Fully has my chosen profession. I always never hope it's these on hospital call the Rangers. He goes, you're done. I went on. Acknowledging the fact the Rangers more of these. He's like, what the fuck? So I went ahead and said the whole fucking Ranger Creed. Next thing I knew, he goes, hey, you didn't need a first sergeant. I was like, fuck. Now, not only am I going through one of the best leadership schools, you have to be dialed in all day long. When I'm not out in the field getting graded, I'm now in garrison, having to be in charge of all these fucking guys in Bravo platoon. So Bravo company. So I was like, guys, it was I was always had to be on the whole time. Roger that. Roger that. So I was like, fuck it, man. I guess I'm in charge now the whole time. But I never got fired. You know, most guys going through that. You know, you get fired. That's what led me to, you know, getting the Honor Man Award. Right. Well, the thing about it is I deployed, I fought in combat, stuff like that. First of all, it's hard to relate to that. Second of all, I had to get all kind of fucking approvals from people to get that in the book and talk about it. And I want to go through that process of, hey, can I put, you know, what I did in Iraq in the book and stuff like that in the book. And I want my book to relate to people. You know, there's enough Navy SEAL books out there talking about, you know, running, gun, and shooting them up, stuff like that. That's never been, I don't want to be known as a Navy SEAL. Even though I talk a lot of, you know, people want to ask me about it, you know, Navy SEAL, that was a snippet of my life. You know, that was a snippet of my life. And I want to be known as somebody much more than that, who did a lot more than that. So my book is about helping people, and I can't help people through what I did in combat. I can help people by what I went through in life itself. And I went out to, I mean, it was intentional to make this book about how can these stories resonate and help people. And, you know, it wasn't like, hey, let me kiss my own ass. So that's why I had to go there and do that. So that's why. A lot of things are frowned upon in the SEAL teams. A lot of things are. You know, that's one of them. I don't care what you do. You know, it's your life, and I'm not about judging people for that. But a lot of SEALs don't like anybody going out doing anything like that. And I don't know if it's a lot of jealousy or whatever. I don't care, but it is frowned upon for some people to do that. But I guarantee you, some of those guys, if they did some cool shit, you know, a lot of us don't do cool shit. I came up with the only. There's a lot of onlys out there. I was the only black in a lot of situations. And the only isn't about a color. There's a lot of, you know, there's gays, there's lesbians, there's people who are white people who just feel like they're not wanted in society. That's the only. The only is feeling like you're not accepted in any society that you're in. Doesn't matter what color, creed, race, gender, doesn't matter. It's just that you are in this situation where you feel like you're being judged you might be being judged, you feel awkward. It's an awkward feeling when you walk in a room and you're like, oh my God, like, I'm the only. And that comes with a lot of people. And that's where the only really came from, because I didn't want to make it like a black situation. I want this is about people. You are your own hero. You are the hero of this book. So I want it to be, what's a word that can make people feel like this resonates with me? That's only. You know, it's not about, it was about black or about white or about being Jewish or Christian or whatever. So that's where it comes from, man. It's about ownership of, a lot of people feel like no one understands what the fuck I'm going through right now. And that's the only.
Right, and that seems to be something that you leverage to get stronger. Oh,
yes, the only is a very powerful thing for me. And there's a lot of times in my life that I chose the only on purpose. On purpose, just to see how I would come out the other end of it. Well, like I've said a million times before, the most important conversation is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually, you act on it. Sometimes you act on it good, sometimes bad. You got to change the internal dialogue. That person in your head that's talking that shit to you, until you change the internal dialogue in your head, until you callous over the victim's mentality that the world is out to get you because of you are the only, you got to change that shit, man.
Yeah, but you don't understand my life, David.
Yeah, I do. So that's the thing about it. And that's what I can talk about. But yeah, I get what you're saying. A lot of folks don't I get that mentality. I once had that mentality that no one understands what the fuck I'm going through. And if you keep that mentality, you're going to stay in the same exact spot that you're in, that no one understands me. There's millions of people. Why do you think a book that I self-published, is doing so well? With a story that's so fucked up. People are like, I never forget, I went to a publishing house, like, who's going to resonate with this story? No one's going to buy this book. I'm like, are you not in the world? Are you not in society? You're never alone. Everybody's going through shit. So when people get this mentality of like, you don't understand me, you can throw a fucking rock to someone that can understand you if they're willing to break themselves down and stop hiding. A lot of people understand you, but you got to stop hiding. And that's why I tell people, a lot of people are going through shit, they just hide better than you did. That's all they did. They was hiding better. I talked about with her 2 hours today. I said, we are fucking grinding so hard that we are losing the vantage point of what we have accomplished today. We got podcast, interview, flying, do this, do that. I'm like, stop. It's just me and you and this mom and pop thing that we're doing. Look at where the fuck this book is at right now. It's crazy. Look how many people we're touching. Shut up and just fucking think for a second. Let's stop. Because all we did was talk about this and this. I don't know. Enjoy this for a second. We have to take time and realize what the fuck we've accomplished here.
That's an evolution for you, man.
Huge, but
that's a very different David Goggins than even from a couple of years ago.
Huge, because you have to. What is it all about? I'm gonna keep on grinding. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying though is, you have to respect what you've done. Take a second, not live in it, not sit around and say I'm good. Sit back and say, let me look at the vantage point now that I'm at. That's why you reset the vantage point. Get the tactical advantage. If you get the tactical advantage too quick and start fighting, you got to take a second to take observation of where I'm at. What have I done? Am I in the right spot? I'm obviously in the right spot right now. Now we can go back to fighting. So that's what we're doing right now. I never found peace until I got real sick. And you find peace by clarity. And there's no clarity when there's noise. When there's always a schedule in front of you to keep grinding at it. So my schedule's always there. I'm still alive. And when I'm still alive, I'm going to grind until I'm dead. But in that grinding schedule, you have to have a point in there where it's okay, at 12 o'clock, reset the tactical advantage and look and see where you're at. At this new vantage point, stop for a second and survey the field. Because what I was doing was I had this big long schedule. And in this schedule, there was no take a second, see what the fuck you've accomplished. Because if I did all that shit in the military, after I got honor man at Ranger School, and I was the top leader amongst 300 people, when I got back to that second platoon, if I had taken the vantage point and said, okay, my God, man, you've really grown as a leader, I would have attacked the situation, that second platoon, much differently. When I was like, oh, you guys want to work out this fucking hard? You ain't hard like this? I would have learned, I would have taken a step back and said, okay, hang on a second, man. You learned a lot. That's the tactical advantage. You got to take that vantage point and take a second to breathe and say, you learned a lot. But when you learn a lot, if you just go back into the fight, you never apply what you learned. You just get that certificate of graduation and go. Get it, remember what you learned, and use it. And that's about taking that 1 second out, get on top of that mountaintop, looking down and say, okay, how would I have handled this years ago? Wow, I would have really fucked that up. This time, let's not fuck it up again.